So I'm not the best deck builder out there, and I won't claim to be. But when I see a deck that I think looks really cool, I want to try it at the local level. That's where my love for Pokemon TCG kind of stems from. Playing cards and decks that I think look cool and seem like a lot of fun. So I've been wanting to play Raging Bolt for quite a while now, but I've had some obligations to take care of before I can go to some League Cups or anything before I leave for the World Championships. Coming up here, I had one League Cup yesterday, so I didn't have time to record. While having to juggle some other responsibilities. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take Raging Bolt, a deck that I've been trying to play for a while now. I've been eyeing it up. Regidrago's been getting more popular in my local area. This is a good matchup into that. Maybe this deck is the truth. Maybe this deck is just so insane that I should bring it. And maybe I can have a good showing with it. So I sleeved up Kaiwin's winning League Cup. Like I took a tried and true winning list already, Raging Bolt list, which looks pretty stock standard. Like everything looks pretty simple to me. It's got the 4 Ogerpon, 4 Raging Bolt, the Greninja, Sandy Shock, Squawk, Mew, 3 Energy Retrievals, 4 Sada, 1 Boss, 1 Iono, 4 Vessel, 4 Gear, 4 Shoes, 4 Nest Ball, and an Ultra Ball, 2 Catcher, 2 Switch Cart, 2 Stop, 1 Palpad, Vacuum to deal with the Gardevoir matchup, Prime Catcher, 7 Grass, 3 Lightning, and 3 Fighting. Basically, the list seems pretty consistent, pretty good overall, so I figured this deck has been pretty good for me when I played PTCG Live. It's time to take it for a whirl. I'm sick of playing Guardy to every single local tournament. Let's have some fun. So I get there, I sleeve up Bolt, we throw it into the mix. We end up getting 5 rounds into a top 8 because some people were gracious enough to sign up at the last second. We waited for a couple people to show up. 23 Masters, so not a big showing compared to like our usual big cup, but we had like 2 or 3 cups in the same day, and I think a couple of players are off at Gen Con in Indianapolis, and some people are just getting ready to leave for the World Championships, which, if you didn't know, I'll be heading out this week as well. So this is like my last chance to play today. Once I've done recording this, it's going to be running errands, packing up my bags, and getting ready to basically leave for 2 weeks, which I'm very excited about. So I've not played Bolt outside of live, so I didn't realize how many actions you actually take in person. And I don't think I was fully like on when I sat down and started playing. So round 1 I hit a Drago, and I think it's like one of the newest players in the room. He's been playing for like, I don't know, not that long. He's playing like Primordial Altar and cards that aren't very good, just basically what he had and owns. But he is playing Drago, and his start is just pretty bad. I end up going second, getting the turn 1 KO onto his Drago, into just a knockout onto, I think, a bunch of Cyclozar. Knockout onto Cyclozar, knockout onto something else, knockout onto something else. Like, so the game was over in 4 knockouts from my side. Pretty much a picture-perfect way of how the deck should set up. I had to squawk in to get the Sada, but I was pretty much left with like 15 to 20 cards left at the end of turn 1. After I had already attacked, my board was already fully set up. I had like 2 Teal Masks on the board. Basically as good as it could have gone. And I was like, cool, sick. Next game I go up against my buddy Tony. He's also playing Drago. Tony went on to get top 4 at this cup. I opened Sandy Shocks, and I went first. I opened Sandy Shocks, attached, passed, which is probably one of the worst turn 1s for something like Bolt, where you want to try to get into Squawk. You have 6 outs to Squawk with 4 Nest, 1 Ultra, and a Squawk. And then you have like Shoes to dig deeper and go deeper to try to find it on turn 1, because energy in the discard's good. Just getting to play the game is really good. And just kind of didn't pan out. But then Tony has a pretty weak turn 1, turn 2, and I'm able to capitalize and stabilize back, and and he has to Dragon Laser my Sandy Shocks because I poke I get the Sada off the turn 2, but I have to Sada to like just a Sandy Shocks, and I have like 2 Teal Masks now because I was able to chain those off a Pokestop and getting Nest Balls. And so I use Sandy Shocks to attack into his Teal Mask. He Turos up his Teal Mask, which I was like, oh my god, Turo. And then he Dragon Lasers me because he didn't have another supporter in hand, or V-Star. And then I top deck, nothing reasonable. I think I Pokestop into another Nest Ball, get the Bolt. I'm able to Sada again because I already have it in hand. Off that Sada, I end up drawing like Vessel. Off of that Vessel, I'm able to go get more energies. I basically use all the energy on my board to wipe him out. And then he follows up with a Iono, and I'm pretty sure that I just draw out of it and win the game. So now I'm 2-0 at this 5-round League Cup, so winning one more round in the next 2 will give me an opportunity to ID and secure my spot in the top 8. There's a little stream going on for the store, so the next round I'm up on stream against Arc Armarouge, and I go first because I knew he was playing Arceus. And his start is actually pretty insane. He gets uh, two Charcadet, Entei, Arceus, and Bidoof to play, and opens Bidoof. And I probably could have played a little bit more aggressive going first. Like, instead of going for the Greninja and discarding two energy to draw two, because my hand was a lot of energies in Sada, I vesseled away an energy, and I opted to just grab a Teal Mask because I had 2 gears, I believe, or 1 or 2 gears. So I could just get 4 energy on the board and just knock out an Arceus if I could find a boss, potentially, or a catcher. None of that happened. I had to knock out a Bidoof, which then he comes back up with Entei and gusts up my Teal Mask, I think it takes a knockout. And then I knock out the... No, he uses Arceus to knock out my Squawk or a Mew, one of the two. And then I use my attacker to knock his attacker. Wait, no, I'm trolling. I'm like super trolling. He plays Max Belt. So he goes Max Belt, Arceus, KO, my Teal Mask. I go Bolt, KO his Arceus. He goes Entei, KO my Teal Mask. I go Bolt, KO his Entei. And then he goes Gouging Fire, move 3 fires to it. All 3 fires that he has on board. He has 2 fires on board attached from hand because I owned him low. Game. And I was like, sick. I had to hope he missed the energy. That's pretty much all I could hope to do. I had to take out the Entei. Unfortunately, I couldn't chase the Charcadet. I had a turn where I went catcher with Sandy Shocks, hit the heads, and I didn't get the energy required off the Iono. And if I did, I had a chance to just knock out his Charcadet, or not Charcadet, Armarouge, because he put 40 damage on it, leaving it with 90 remaining. So my first attack with Sandy Shocks does 90, knocks that out. He can't move energy anymore. And then that turn, if he finds boss, I lose anyway. But he didn't find boss that turn, which meant that I had one more turn to go into Bolt and then win the game on the back of that. So I actually had a chance to actually win the game. Just the cards did not fall in my favor. So I'm 2-1. Next round I go up against Bo, who's playing his Tina deck. He loves Tina. It's his favorite deck. He's had some success with it as well at the regional level. I think day 2 in a couple of events, going pretty deep. And so I should have guessed when he flipped over his cards. He went first, had a pretty good setup. I went first. Sorry, I had a really weak setup. I think I drew a ton of cards, and I ended the turn with Mew Energy Pass. He had a pretty good turn 1. I think he was like 1 card off of knocking me out because he had to choose between Vacuum and something else. And he had to pop Sealstone early to get Chorus, which gave me a chance to play. And then I had like the most insane turn 2 hand if I could find a Raging Bolt. Like, I think I needed to just find a Nest Ball, an Ultra Ball, a Bolt to bench because I had Sada, Energy, Prime Catcher all sitting in my hand, ready to just knock out the Tina that he's like attaching energy to. Put him in an awkward position because once I knock out the first Tina, I can go 2-2-2 and play the game that way. But instead, I have to go Sandy Shocks, KO his active, Comfy, which ends up kind of biting me because he goes Tina, Gust, Stamp, and I'm like, oh, sick. But then off the Stamp, I draw out of it because I just have the best, and I basically like Pokestop into like Retrieval, Catcher, or something else, and I basically can go Tail Dance, Bolt, Sada, Setup, one-shot Tina, and then he goes Tina, one-shot active, and then I go Bolt, KO active with Iono. And I think the Iono just gave him last boss. Yeah. And so I had to play on I had to pass. We were 2-2 on prize cards, and I could Sandy Shocks for a little bit of damage on a Comfy or something, or I went Sandy Shocks, catcher heads, up a Comfy, kill Comfy that turn, and I don't know, putting us back to 2-2 prize cards because I don't want to knock out something and activate counter catcher because one counter catcher was in discard and a boss was in the lost zone. So and Tina doesn't typically play Palpad, so I was like, I have to bank on him playing 2 counter catcher. I think that's the only win condition for me. If he plays 2 boss, I lose anyway, so I just have to assume that I'm playing under the assumption of 2 counter catcher, because if I'm playing under the assumption of 2 boss, I've already lost this game and there's no reason for me to carry this out. And I gave it to him. I gave him the boss, and yeah, that's all she wrote. So 2-2, and now I'm thinking about dropping and just dipping because I have some other things to take care of. But the TO tells me that 1-3-2 or 2-3-2s will make it, depending on the down pair that's going to happen here. and my resistance is like 10% higher than everybody else's. Like some players asked to see final standings before going into the last round, and mine looked good. So my job was pretty simple. Win the last round, I probably have a pretty good shot at making top 8. Unfortunately for me, I end up going into a Guardy, which is probably one of the matchups I want to see the least. I end up getting pretty far ahead. I take 2 prize cards. He comes up with a Charmed Screamtail and snipes my Bolt on the bench, which was really annoying because I was poking with Sandy Shocks to make the game awkward already, and I then go Vacuum, kill that. He gives me Greninja, and then I go Bolt KO the Greninja, which is not ideally what I wanted to do. I wanted to like Catcher or Gust the Guardy that turn and kill the Guardy and Vacuum with Bolt. Because if I do that, then I'm down to 1 prize card and he has 4 remaining, and there's like no reasonable win con anymore. Because no matter what attacker you use to kill Bolt, that attacker can be knocked out by Teal Mask or Sandy Shocks, which are both in play for me. So there's like a 0% lose con in that condition. But I had prized Catcher, Last Catcher, and Boss. And I used Prime Catcher early on to kill a Curlia. So I was in a position where I knew I needed to take Gust off this 2-turn, like these 2 prize card turn. So that's why I went Vacuum first to knock out the Drifloon. Or not Drifloon, Screamtail. And I whiffed the attacker, or the Gust. And then I went, just knock out your active, give me Gust, that's all I can do. And then his turn, now he has a chance to win by going, set up a Drifloon, knock out my active and Turo in the same turn. And if he can do all that, then I'm in a really tough spot. But he's able to go no Turo, because he prized it, he told me after the game. No Turo, Drifloon setup, Charm, so 2 Charms still, old school list, good for Bolt, like great for the Bolt matchup. And then puts back Screamtail and I think Gardevoir with his Rod. And I just have to knock out active. I can't really do much. I can't even, and I have Iono again, so I go Iono, put him to 2 cards. He has one Curlia and 2 Curlies and a Greninja, and his deck is like 15 cards, so like I'm pretty sure it's cooked anyway for me. And then he goes draw for turn, and then he just shows me the Screamtail in hand, and I have a Squawkabilly on board, so the game is just over. And just like that, I go to 2-3. Not the most convincing performance going into Worlds, but I don't think I necessarily misplayed anywhere, which is I think the biggest thing you need to take away from a tournament. It's did I make mistakes? If I did, yes. How can I reflect and improve on them, regardless of what deck you're playing? And then it's just from there. Like if you made mistakes, then sure, reflect on them, learn from them, go next. And if you didn't, and just RNG went bad that day, it happened because it's best of 1. Things happen. Anything can happen in a best of 1 scenario. So that being said, I think my best of 1 day was not the greatest, and my deck necessarily was a feast or famine deck choice. That being said, I'm not a biggest fan of Raging Bolt. After that, I think it's like a more for fun deck. I was kind of frustrated at how I lost games because they felt completely out of my control, if anything. And sure, the Drago matchup feels like absurdly insane, but at the same time, if you just brick like I did a couple of games or have a little bit of a slow setup, even something like Drago can beat you. So Raging Bulk is what I'm going to call this for now. It's going back in my binder. Just not a fan of that. So let's look at the overall season tracker. That was cup number 2 for me. I went 2-3. I think I got 12th out of 23. 0 championship points awarded. A little bit of a steep entry cost here with $30. The prizing wasn't amazing either. I think only finals prizing looked like it was worth anything. Where like I think second place got a UPC and first place got a box. But even then for $30 entry, it's a little bit like steep on prizing. Like I don't know. It wasn't great prizing, but I kind of expect that out of League Cups across the board. So overall on the season, I've paid a lot on entry costs. I've won very little on prizing, but I still have already booked a bunch of flights and stuff. So like more or less, I'm still a little positive on the year on the league challenges and stuff. I might still go to league challenges to farm some store credit, but at the very least, like no more cups for me until after Worlds. I leave next Saturday, until then, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna have a cool video coming out tomorrow. You guys will be excited. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Peace.